Did your mom ever say this to you? You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. And I know the word stupid isn't a necessarily nice word, but hey, it's all I got for you today. And one of the stupidest games that you can play is the shoulda, coulda, woulda game. You know the game I'm talking about. It's the one where you're like, man, I should have, showed up more on social media. I could have taken my family or paid off that debt if I would have done this with my business. Or I wish that those people would have chose me. All of that if only conversation. That is one of the most dangerous games to play. And what I'm noticing in my Yes We Can year, I'm almost 45. Oof, I'll be 45 in a couple months, is that more often than not, I hear and I've experienced myself like, oh, a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And I think that that is even tougher than failing. And earlier today, I had a coaching call with the Real Estate Bestie Accelerator Besties. It's my group coaching program. I meet with them every single week, and we just go a deep dive on, you think what we do on a podcast, like we go so much deeper in Accelerator and just really helping them build the businesses that they want to build, right? I'm with them step by step. And because we are now at Q3, it is July as I am recording this episode. We just really talked about just first of all, taking assessment of what has happened thus far in the year, not only in their businesses, but in their businesses, in their personal lives. And, I asked them some very specific questions that I'm going to propose to you as you take assessment of where you are mid-year. But the biggest thing I want to say is let's all agree that we are not going to play the shoulda, coulda, woulda game. Because, and this is why this episode is so timely, is that what tends to happen to real estate agents, people in business, just honestly, I think people in general, we get really, really deep into goal setting mode and what we want to do around December, October, November of a year. And that next year is going to be your year. But sometimes there is a disconnect between the daily activities that need to happen, actually tracking the progress, tracking what you are actually doing, and not waiting until the end of the following year to say, oh man, I should have did this, right? So in this episode, I'm going to just break down for you some mid-year check-in reset questions that you want to ask yourself. The same things that not only am I going through with the besties, but I'm going through with myself. Because listen, I don't care what market we're in. I don't care what's happening all around us. If you are up and listening to me, tell me I'm up. If you are up, if you are able-bodied and able-mind, put it in the chat, say I'm able, then that means that there is a plan and a purpose for your life. But you have a choice. I have a choice. We can either go all in and actually move every single day towards what God is purposing us to do in our life and in our business, or we can wait until December 31st, talk about, oh, we shoulda, coulda, woulda did that. And I'm going to tell you, just for me, the whole shoulda, coulda, woulda deal, it is actually worse than failing. And yeah, it's just actually worse than failing to me. At least if you fail at something, you have tried. And if you tried, then you got feedback. And if you get enough feedback, then it is going to push you forward in your future. And it's so much better than playing shoulda, coulda, woulda. But let me just I have to be transparent and share with you what's on my heart, especially right now, because friends, it's July as I'm recording this episode. And just a few days ago, in Central Texas, where not too far from where I am, there was a really, really horrific flood. I know you probably have heard all about it. It was 3 weeks worth of rain that came down in just a couple of days, not days, hours. And the amount of loss and devastation, it is unbelievable. And I'm not going to go too much deep into it because my mama heart, I just might break down and cry. But there are so many sweet young women, little girls who lost their lives upon, there are even more fatalities that we don't even know about yet. But I was just even thinking about these young ladies who the stories are talking about, how they were celebrating life and getting to know Jesus, and they did not know that their last days were coming. And I have, just like you, I got a whole lot of questions for God And I'm just asking him to just give those families a peace that surpasses all understanding, because I can't even begin to comprehend. But when things like this happen, whether I'm directly impacted or not, I tend to like lean towards one or two things, right? And this is the way it was when my mom passed. Either I'm like, okay, God, use me up. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna do everything that you want me to do. I'm gonna do it without fear, because I know that our days are numbered, and I want to make sure that I am leaving your mark on the world with my gifts. Or if I'm being honest, sometimes these headlines and grief and overwhelm, it can, if I'm not careful and if I'm not rooted in the right community, and if I'm not feeding myself the positive things, and forget positive, the word of God, it can overwhelm me to the point where I'm like, well, what's the point of even doing anything? Because, this life is going to end anyway. That's when I have a very temporal view of life, and not understanding the eternal life, and like how really our goal here is to populate heaven, right? Is to shine God's light through everything that we do, including our work. Which brings me to, you might be like, okay, girl, what this got to do with the mid-year reset? Because honestly, sometimes if we're not careful, you will move your business, your relationships, your life, the tasks, the things that you're supposed to do. We will move with a sense of urgency. And I'm almost like saying it with an attitude, or I should say a lack of urgency, like we're going to be here forever. And the reality is that you have no idea what God's plan is for your life. But if you woke up today, and if I woke up today, and if we have breath in our lungs, we should not have the luxury of playing shoulda, coulda, woulda, because God could have chosen not to wake us up today. But because he did, that means that he has something very specific for us to do. And oftentimes we are letting minor distractions, or, lack of self-confidence, or believing the lie that we don't know how to be consistent, get in the way of not only doing what he's called us to do, but showing up in the way that he wants us to show up. So if you can feel yourself, and there are some areas, let me just be all the way out here and keep it 100. There are some areas in my life, I'm not about to sit here and pretend I have it all together, that I should be doing more than I'm doing. I could be doing more than I'm doing. I think to myself, oh, if this was like this, then I would do that. But the reality is that I have the chance right now. You have the chance right now. So let's be honest with ourselves. Let's see exactly what has happened, so that we can make a plan and take action for the future, for the rest of this year. So let's talk about it as it relates to your business. I think the number one thing is, like, we have to take assessment of what's happened from January 1 to June right now, okay? Or to the end of June, July, where we are. And here's one thing, though. I'm going to encourage us to take assessment of that, but try as best as we can not to put emotion behind it. So let me give you an example. If you're like, you know what? I thought that by, the whole year, I wanted to make $100,000, which means that way by like girl math, by halfway through the year, we should have been at 50. And I'm at 12. I closed one deal. I closed two deals, right? Instead of, you even see how my voice went, like that was almost judgmental. But first of all, let's celebrate what we have done, but let's just let it be the facts, okay? I wanted to be at 50 by now. And instead of being at 50, I'm at 40. Or maybe you wanted to be your goal is to sell $300,000 or to make $300,000. That means you should have been at $150,000 by now. Now you're at 90, right? So instead of it being like, oh, I can't believe that I'm only here, let's just look at the numbers and just use it as data, okay? And the reason that I want you to look at it as just merely data is because once we start attaching emotions to it, we can be telling ourselves a negative story, like, oh, you're not good enough. You should have been further along by now, right? Oh, the market, all of these self-deprecating things that are going to only bind us for the rest of the year instead of thinking of it from a different perspective, right? So if you're like, okay, I want to make 100,000, I'm at 12. Okay, I only have $80,000 more. And you might be like, Rosemary, only $80,000 more, sis. let's put only in front of it because I want to minimize it. I want to make this big, hairy, audacious goal just a little bit more attainable in your mind. And I'm telling you, it is attainable, right? It is attainable. So in the beginning, just take assessment of where you are. And so you know the numbers. Too often we don't know our numbers. And if you don't truly know your numbers, you don't know if you're doing good or bad. I think about my husband always gets on me. And listen, this is actually me admitting this on the podcast. So I'm going to do it. I don't always do a great job of having a PCP, a primary care physician, right? And seeing my primary care physician as frequently as I could. I'm in the hunt for a new one. I think I got one. But because of that, my husband, he's religious. Like every birthday, his birthday month, he will go and he knows his numbers. He knows his cholesterol. He knows his this. He knows his that. Now, my other doctor that I see yearly, she runs some of these numbers for me. And I'm always in like a good level. But honestly, I don't even know what a good level is. They always tell me I'm doing good, but I don't know the numbers. So if something goes off or if something is array or, I don't know my baselines enough to know if my body is responding differently to something. And that is a problem, which is why I'm telling you. So now I'm held accountable to get to know my numbers. Same thing in your business, right? If you can be very busy thinking that you are bringing more in than what's actually coming in, or you can minimize what's coming in because we're not keeping track of actually what the numbers are. And sometimes I see realtors doing one or two things well. Either they know the number of transactions or how much money they've made, but not both. I want you to know both of them, right? I want you to know the number of transactions and keep track of that. I want you to know the number of like how much GCI, gross commission income, you've actually brought in. And I want you to know your volume numbers because you just want to see how that has shifted and what's happening over time. So take some time to just really take assessment, no judgment of where you are. And I'm just going to say this to you, okay? This market, this is not like a blanketed, oh my God, like giving you an excuse to be average or to be basic, but it's been a more challenging market, right? So because if the numbers aren't exactly where you thought they would be, I would say like I have a lot more listings that I thought would have sold by now. Okay. Now they're still active. It's still money in the pipeline. There's still conversations that can be had. We're still marketing them. And I believe wholeheartedly we only need one buyer for each one and they will sell. But sometimes it's not because of your effort that you're not seeing the results, right? Some of it is the market has impacted. And there may be some different ways that you're going to go about doing business and what you're attracting because of it, but get to know your numbers. Okay. Then while we're taking the assessment, this is probably the hard part, is you just got to be honest with yourself. Okay. A lot of times we have the shoulda, coulda, woulda mentality because we are not stopping to be honest with ourselves about what our actions are and then doing something about it. Again, I'm putting myself on the chopping block. Y'all, my closet over the past couple weeks, it was low-key embarrassing, like how my closet was looking. And you know how you know your mess? Like you used to the way your mess look, but sometimes you need to stop and look at like your things, your numbers, the way you're running your business, your closet from the perspective of somebody else. And we were having people over for a recent holiday. And I was like, went in my closet to get something. And I stopped and I looked and I said, there was a time I would give somebody a tour of my house and we got our closets done, all fancy by Closets by Design. There was a time where I would stop and show them my closet. But I can't show nobody this today, right? Because it is a hot mess. And if I'm being honest with myself, the 2 seconds that at night it would take to hang up my clothes or sort them, or, when I am looking for an outfit and these shoes didn't work, so I grabbed those shoes. I'm not taking like the small steps to put the other shoes back because of just those little micro decisions. I was faced with such a tragic mess, but I had a choice, right? Am I actually going to block the time to slow down long enough to actually do something about it. But I'm telling you, I could have kept going because nobody was looking at it. Nobody was telling me about my messy closet. Just like maybe no one's telling you, hey, go make your phone calls, go do an open house. Hey, go actually organize your database. Hey, did you make sure that you sent a closing gift or a follow-up call to that person? So really take some time to pause and think about your activities and where do you need to clean it up. And I'm going to tell you something, like when I decided to clean my closet, I didn't block a whole day. I just said, you know what, I'm going to set this timer for 15 minutes and I'll do all these shoes. Okay. So I set this timer for 15 minutes. I did the shoes. And then once I was done with that, I was like, okay, I got a little progress, got a little momentum. Let me set the time for 15 more minutes and let me hang up all these clothes that are on the floor and start doing the giveaway pile, right? I told my friend what I was doing, so she called me accountable. Like I had to take baby steps towards it. But first I had to assess where I was at. I had to be honest with myself about my activities that got me here and actually do something about it. Then made a decision on what to do forward. And this is what I tell you, I'm only 3 days in, but I've been hanging up my stuff. I've been putting my shoes back, right? I've been making those, like I've changed those small micro decisions because I don't want to look up and have the big mess that I just cleaned up. Same thing with you and your business, right? Think it through. What are the micro decisions that have contributed to you being where you are or not, or being where you are if that's where you want to be, or has it contributed to you not being quite where you want to be? And where can you start to clean it up? And what are the micro decisions that you can make today? Okay, and I'm going to give you just a small one. Like, I just want to give you a small one. One micro decision that you can make is say, before I show up on social media, can I reach out to 5 people? Can I literally pick up the phone and reach out to 5 people? You know you get on social media every day. And I know you get on there every day. So if every day you reach out, you send a video text or a text message or a voicemail, or God forbid you actually call 5 people a day, that's 35 people a week. That I can't do the math, but that's probably, 100 and some people per month. How much further along might your business be if we made that micro decision? I bet you won't be singing shoulda, coulda, woulda at the end of the year by making those little micro decisions. Okay. So what is it what are some of the different choices that you can make? Like, don't wallow in the mess. Like, it would not be helpful for me if I sat in my closet like, oh my goodness, my closet is such a mess. No, it's just like, okay, let's start here. Okay, girl, you started here. You started working on it. Okay, now let's move on to the next part. Okay. So that's it. It's a very, very easy thing to do. All right. Now, when it comes to thinking through the business and like this mid-year reset, one thing that I am talking to the besties about in coaching is like now looking for opportunities of things that may be different from when you started the year. And I'm going to give you a whole idea or a thought process that I'm having. And tell me in chat if you want me to do like a whole deep dive podcast about where I think your biggest money-making activities or biggest money-making opportunities are in 2025. Especially as the market is doing what it's doing. But like an opportunity, something that, I may have been focused on more in the beginning of the year. And when I check in with myself, I was probably more focused on listings than I am right now. It's not that I'm not focused on listings, but quite honestly, listings are coming a little bit more easily because we have more people who are looking to sell their house, and they are looking for just not anybody to pop a sign in the yard. They're looking for somebody who's going to market it, who's going to be a little bit more skilled. So I'm actually getting more like organic phone calls for listings. So where am I putting some of my effort? Because listings are coming a little bit more easily, but they're a little harder to get sold, is I want to put my effort in buyers. I want to make sure that myself, my team, the besties, we are like truly, truly thinking through what are the conversations we need to be having on social media? What are the conversations we need to be having at these barbecues? When we see our friends, our family members, like, what are the things that we need to be conveying to them? What's going through their mind that might be holding them back from actually purchasing a home? And how can I articulate and educate to them that this is their time to shine? Like literally, I I just got off the phone. This is such a sweet, I can't say, I got some friends that's about to get married. And like, literally, I got them like crazy deal with the builder because I was able to articulate. I mean, it was even crazy to me. Like, I was like, girl, you did that. But because I was able to articulate to them like what an opportunity they have now as buyers because inventory is higher, like it's a hot and ready situation for me that wasn't present, a week or two ago. So thinking through, where might you want to shift some of your conversations and your language based on what's happening in the market? Take assessment and pulse of that. So like, I'll give you another one. If you are let's just say you are in an area and, listings are moving slow, but you notice that this one particular neighborhood, you had a listing, it was multiple offers, there are a lot of people, it's very niche. Maybe you're going to shift some of your focus into getting more listings in that neighborhood because they're going to sell right away. But if we're not stopping long enough to take assessment of how we want to tweak some of our activities, then you can just be doing the same old things, okay? Because I know, bestie, like, it's very possible that you're not just sitting on your hands trying to figure out what to do. You're doing stuff, but the stuff not working like it was working before. So just taking a few moments to be a little bit more thoughtful. And again, not that you're not being thoughtful, but just going a little bit deeper and really thinking through, like, where are the opportunities and where can I position myself to show people the opportunities and that I'm the one to help them get to that next level. Okay. So then here is probably the last thing that I'm going to say about the midweek check-in. As a matter of fact, I am like a little squirrel. If you're watching on YouTube, I have a broken nail. So I apologize for anybody who is like stressed out looking at my broken nail. I'm going to get it fixed as soon as I finish this podcast. But which leads me to the next thing. Okay. Where are you at with all the other stuff? Like, I want you to do a mid-year check-in on your spiritual well-being, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, because you very well may be killing it in real estate, but your marriage is trash. You very well maybe, feeling like you showing up on social media, but you're feeling disconnected from the real people in your life, right? You might be like, hey, I am locked and loaded here, but I shoulda, coulda, woulda started this quiet time routine with the Lord, and that hasn't started yet. I don't want us to just keep business as usual. Go back to that vision board. Were you supposed to start a skincare routine? Were you supposed to start a Bible study? Were you supposed to, start going for a walk once a day? Don't beat yourself up the same way we talked about the last stuff. I don't want you to come to it with a spirit of judgment for yourself, but what actions are you going to take? Because it's still more than enough time for you to move towards the version of yourself that you said that you were going to be. Because we got to be getting better, right? This life is too short for us to just be stagnant and not moving towards purpose. The challenge is that I think oftentimes we think we got to do like this hard 180 and it has to be so like, Yep, I'm like grunting on the podcast. I know it's weird. But sometimes you think you have to do this hard 180 when in reality, you just got to make baby steps. So the same way we are taking assessment and looking at our activities in these other areas, that's what I want you to do for your personal life. Okay. So I'll give you a great one. If you're like, okay, this is the year that I just want to, because this was me for a long time. I just wanted to start to get closer to the Lord. But I got an open house on Sunday. And when this happens, I know it's supposed to be Bible study night, but my girl invited me to dinner or, it's always going to be something. Today, can you just make the decision to say, you know what, I'm going to spend 10 minutes with the Lord. I'm going to spend 20 minutes with the Lord. And, not shameless. Like, I am so proud of a resource that we have created for you in the Real Estate Bestie community, because we have created a 40-day devotional, and the whole purpose is to help you get closer to Jesus and to start your day and your life and your business with him. And we want to help you create that habit one day at a time. So you go to rosemarylewis.com/book and you can grab your book. It is a great gift to give one of your besties, but more importantly, it's great to get us in the habit of having that quiet time, so that again, you're not like, oh man, I should have joined the church this year. I should have did this. No. You still can. You still, if you have breath in your lungs, right? If you can move, then you still can, right? Physical health. If you're like, man, I really wish that I would have started tracking my meals or watching my sodium intake, you can do it now, right? Take assessment, see what your daily activities are, and then make a choice. And I think that's what I'm going to leave you with, Bestie. All of it is a choice, right? Whether you do or whether you don't, in any of the instances, it is a choice. And I'm just thinking about those babies who were asleep and just carried away, right? In that instance, there wasn't a choice. And I'm not even going to try to comprehend what I can't comprehend, because I'm not even there yet. But what I do know is that if we are like, they're getting their reward, they're in heaven. If we are still here, that means that there is a plan for us. So what are you going to do to shake things up? What are you going to do to get outside of the rut, to put yourself in the right rooms, to shift those activities, to make those micro shifts, change those micro habits so that you can get some major results? So it's mid-year, friend. What you gonna do? Okay. I know for me, and I'm by the way, I am never, ever, ever going to be talking to you about things that I am not actually walking through and being challenged with in my own life. So there are definitely some areas of my own life where I am being challenged, and I'm feeling like, okay, you can't play shoulda, coulda, woulda. And the only way not to be shoulda, coulda, woulda in is if you do the things you don't want to do, that you might be scared of, fearful of, feel like you're not disciplined enough. You got to do those things right now. That is exactly where I am at. I hope this was helpful. Go ahead and drop it in the chat. Tell me if this was helpful. Like this video, share it with your homies, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, bestie. If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.